Hello! Welcome back to the stand. I'm very excited about this video. Today is Tuesday, and if you don't know, I'm not sure if this is worldwide or just in the States, but at least here it is Giving Tuesday, which is a very exciting day around the holiday season where we take a step back from all the Black Friday madness and all the Christmas gift shopping and think about charities that are in need of our support and contributions. With that in mind, I thought today's video, what I would do is go ahead and talk a little bit about how you can do your research and navigate all the different charities out there and decide where you might like to give on Giving Tuesday if that's what you choose to do. And also just give you some ideas of charities I've done in the past that might spark ideas for you, because this should be an enjoyable experience for you. Not only is it great to give to organizations just because, but it's nice to give to ones that hold a special meaning in your heart and that you know really impacts a certain community that means a lot to you. There's so many great charities out there, some more in need than others possibly, and again we'll talk a lot about that, but just follow your heart and that will lead you all the way. Okay, so like I said, what I'm going to do is talk about some charities that I've given in the past or hope to give to in the future. I am somewhat reticent in doing this because I don't want to take away from attention from other charities, so certainly take this with a grain of salt. It certainly can just be something that sparks maybe a different charity, or this charity may mean a lot to you. It certainly does to me, so I do want to share them in case any of you would like to donate to them as well, because they mean a lot to me and I believe in their mission, and also have done a pretty good amount of research in knowing that they are doing good for the communities that they serve. First, I'll start with one that's been on my mind very recently. If you follow my other channel that I share with my husband Joe, see you real soon, you will have seen a recent video where we visited Give Kids the World Village. This is an amazing organization that helps critically ill children and their families experience a once-in-a-lifetime trip to Central Florida where their expenses of their stay are fully covered, and it's just the most whimsical world and place that really makes the experience unforgettable, which is what those families deserve. And so I can't say enough great things about this organization. They are struggling right now because they can't even welcome the families that they love to serve at this time because of COVID-19, but they still need our help and contributions. And so I can't recommend them enough. Head on over to their website, see what they're all about, and if it's something that you would like to give to as well. I also know, in hearing from some comments, so I don't know if anyone watching this now were alumni family, so if you have any experience with Give Kid the World, I definitely encourage you to share that experience in the comments so others can hear about how it impacted you and your family. We are fortunate that we have not had to use their resources, so all I can share is what I know about them, and all I know about them are amazing things. One organization that I will share that is very close to our home in New Hampshire, but I'm hoping may spark an idea for you, is Community Caregivers of Greater Derry. This is very specific to the town or greater town area of where we live in New Hampshire, but basically I wanted to share it with you because it is a organization that helps typically the elderly population, and again those in need. And I have been contributing both donations as well as my own time to support this organization, and it's meant the world to me, as well as really impacted my relationship and with Lee, as well as what he has learned from it. To step back, the way I was first introduced to this organization is that my brothers and I, for Christmas for the last few years, instead of giving each other gifts, have chosen to donate to organizations that mean a lot to each other, either ones that we have suggested or ones that we have come up with on our own, that we have said, you know, this is an organization that I found that I really think about when I think of you, and it may be one you haven't thought of. And so it just shows how it's a meaningful gift in that not only are you giving to a good organization, but you are having that certain person in mind. An example of that would be, again, we have asked our family to donate to Give Kids the World because of our ties to Central Florida. I've also asked for the Community Caregivers organization because of my beliefs in that organization, and that they are helping the elderly population in so many different ways. Basically, it's a community of caregivers that help the elderly population through getting their groceries for them, keeping them company, cleaning their homes, driving them to appointments. But after having asked my family to donate, I actually looked into it more when it was just Lee and I before Dennis came around. I actually think the majority of my time with them was when I was pregnant with Dennis. Lee and I would take on different assignments that they had where we could. I let them know, you know, I'm a stay-at-home mom with a son who's not in school, and what we really want to do is, as a relationship between the two of us, is use our time to help others. And that was something I really wanted to do for Lee. A reason that this organization is really important to me, not only because I do care for the elderly community and understand that they are very much in need, but also because I grew up with my mom taking care of her grandmother, and I would come along for all of those visits. And I have moved up to New Hampshire away from all of my grandparents, so I'm not able to help them as much as I'd like to, although I'm very thankful that I have family for both my grandparents that are either living with them or very close that are able to support them. That was a really important part of my life, and that I really enjoyed and got a lot out of, and I wanted Lee to have that experience as well. So I know that there are a lot of elderly community that do not have family nearby, and so in that I wanted this for my son and knew that it was a need, it was the perfect marriage. So what we would do is they would call us up anytime that someone needed a ride to an appointment. We dropped off quite a few, and we would just hang out in the parking lot and just have fun, and Lee would get to know them, and they loved meeting him. You know, some of them were very meaningful in that I remember dropping off a woman for a mammogram and being like, you know, yes, I'm so happy that I'm helping this woman get a very important preventative exam. And you know, she was very thankful, and she was so sweet. They all have amazing stories. She was a professional dancer who owned a dance studio, loved kids, and so even in just that short little drive, I got to know her, and really brightened our day. We also had an ongoing relationship with someone that we met with weekly, and the purpose of the meeting was simply just to keep her company. And she also was someone that loved kids. She was a chef in a daycare, and so she just loved Lee's company. We would go to her house if she needed anything, you know, little things done that I could help with, I would. She had cats that Lee loved. Lee would read her books, and she would read them back to him, and we would just talk about life, and that's all that she needed. And now with COVID-19, we can even continue that through phone calls. And so that's something that we are doing as well. So it doesn't mean that it can't be done. So that's a long story about that particular organization, but it's something that you can keep in mind. Is there a community caregivers or some organization that is helping the elderly population? I think more than ever right now, they are isolated because of what's going on in the world, and you know, it's definitely a place where we can pay closer attention and contribute our time and money to supporting them and enriching their lives as they've enriched ours. An organization that may sound familiar to my channel's name is actually Alex's Lemonade Stand. This is an organization I've known for quite a while, and it was actually one that I was nervous about and naming my channel Ashley's Lemonade Stand because I didn't want to take away at all from that organization, but in thinking about it, they are certainly their own entities, and I hope that if anything, my name only just leads people to this amazing organization. Alex's Lemonade Stand is fighting for the cure for childhood cancer and supporting, again, those children and their families. So that is an organization that means a lot to me. I did have my cousin, who I was very close to, lived in the same area, and we were a family that just saw each other for Sunday pasta every week, and we were having sleepovers multiple times a week. And she did have childhood cancer and did pass away within a year of her diagnosis. So it is something that has greatly affected our family, and I think about her all the time still. I was talking to my mom, I said, you know, I wish I remembered her more, because she was 10 years old when she passed, and I believe I was 7. So I do remember bits and pieces about her. I especially remember her during that time in her life, and you know, it is something that, you know, family wants to experience, and so anything that we can do to help fight that cure, I am all about. So Alex's Lemonade Stand is a great organization for that, as well as St. Jude's Children's Hospital. That is another one to consider, maybe one that you're familiar with as well. Another example of an organization that may kind of have ties to you, or is an example of how they focus on a very specific thing that may be important to you, is the new, for an example that I have asked for donations from family, is the New Hampshire Humanities, and that is, of course, supporting the humanities, and that might be something that's important to you. You know, it's definitely, the humanities is definitely one of those subjects and just studies that loses the most funding first in regards to all studies. I remember actually my brother, when he donated to it, he wrote a letter or a note of why, you know, out of all the list of the ones I had picked, he picked this one. It was because he recognized the importance of humanities and how it teaches us about our past, about our future, about our present, and it enriches our lives through music and art, and just brings purpose and beauty to the world, and that we can't live without it. And so we've got to keep those supported and keep those going. An example of a organization that I chose for somebody else was actually for my brother and his family. We donated to the Library Foundation of Los Angeles. And in my reasoning in doing this, I had explained how the library in my town had made an incredible impact on me as a new mother. Is something that I will forever be in debt for what they did for my well-being, as well as the growth and just journey of my son Lee's early life, and the early literacy skills it has provided him, as well as the friends that have become family that it's provided him, and again, the well-being of his mom. And so my brother and his family were welcoming their son shortly after Christmas. And so I thought, you know, I want to make sure that where they live, I am donating to a library foundation that will support them in the same ways that it did for me. Because as the Library Foundation of Los Angeles says, it is more than just a building, it's more than just books. Libraries, as many of you have commented, being librarians yourselves, know how important they are in so many different ways, and we, again, can't do without them, so we have to support them where we can. Other general organizations where you can find ones local to you that are great to donate to are food banks, shelters, as well as family resource centers. I feel like the family resource centers are ones we don't typically think as much about. There's one near us called the Upper Room, and we have learned about it through our library because they do a lot of great programs, and that's basically what they do, is programs for families of all different kinds, young teens, grandparents that having to take on the role of being parents again, just families in general. You know, myself, I can take advantage of those programs, and they just are there to support families in doing the best they can and raising their family. And you know, what is that saying, that you know, it takes a village to raise a child, and something like a female resource center is going to be that village for someone that doesn't have it. You know, I think many of us can think and be thankful for the families around us, the friends that we have that are there to support us, and to think, how could we have done it without them? Well, there are people that can answer that question for you. And so we need to make sure we're supporting those resource centers and organizations that are helping them financially, emotionally, in every possible way to help them raise wonderful children and, you know, enjoy their life as parents as well. Now, as I said, I am not the kind of leader in regards to telling you who you should donate to. These are all just ideas, and I'm just sharing my experiences. I've done the best I can with research, but there's still so much that can be done, and not only that, but unfortunately charities and organizations can change over the years in regards to how well they are doing at supporting the communities that they serve. And so the best thing I can give to you for advice out of anything that I've shared in this video is to take a look at the charitynavigator.org website. It is an amazing organization that is nonprofit as well that you can donate to, that helps you, as it says, navigate through all the different charities, because there are so many wonderful charities, and then there are some not so good charities, and you really do want to make sure that you are putting your money towards organizations that are doing good and using their finances efficiently and the way they should be. And so the Charity Navigator website has ratings. It has a breakdown of how transparent organizations are with their finances, and with that transparency, how that all works out, and whether they are being efficient with their funds, and if they are using what you're donating in the right way. So I cannot suggest that website enough. I have used it many, many times, not only to do my research into organizations that I hear about and I am interested in donating to, but it's also helped me in finding new organizations. They have great, just quick links that you can use, like top 10 lists, like the most followed organizations, the fastest growing organizations. They even point out the bad again, you know, looking at charities that are overpaying their for-profit fundraisers. On that website, you can even look at very specific topics. I saw that there was a COVID-19 nonprofit organizations list. There was a list for breast cancer organizations. Again, if there's a specific topic that is of interest of you or community, whatever it may be, you can find that on the charitynavigator.org website and narrow it down to one that really speaks to you. It's a great way, and just giving you confidence to know that you are picking a charity that is doing their best for the community that you are looking for them to serve and support. I've even done things like for family members. Last year, I had family move to a borough in the New York City area, so I looked and searched in the search bar for that specific borough and found organizations that were very close to where they just moved. It was that feel-good moment of saying, like, you know, I've recognized that you've just made a huge move to this new area, and I want to make sure that you know that I am supporting the people that live alongside you, your neighbors, your new friends, and donating to organizations that are making a direct impact to your community. Organizations that have meant a lot to me, but I don't know if I've ever considered them on the top of my list for charities, but because of COVID-19 have kind of come to the forefront of my mind, are organizations like aquariums. You know, I think about Lee and I, the summer before Dennis was born, so last summer, 2019, we spent at least once a week, if not more, going to the New England Aquarium. It became a wonderful bonding experience for the both of us. It is an experience I think will always be very dear to my heart. I saw him grow so much in the passion he had for the aquatic life. But the reason it specifically has been on my mind with COVID-19 is it's one of those organizations where they are supporting a large group, a lot of animals, and their funding is not all, but I do know relied somewhat heavily, I would think, on attendance. And so with COVID-19, that of course has affected them greatly. I'm sure people are not renewing memberships as much, they are not attending as much. And so for me, that one really hits me hard because, you know, of course, any nonprofit organization, something like, you know, a children's museum, it's sad to see them close their doors right now, but they are not taking care of children and making sure that, you know, they are continuing to thrive and are orphaned and things like that. Whereas a place like an aquarium is doing that, and they need to still function and need to still go on with those daily tasks. And we want them to continue to do initiatives where they're helping our ecology and helping animals in the wild. And so that is definitely one that I would suggest looking into if you have one nearby or one that means a lot to you. That's a great organization to donate to at this time. There are also stores that give proceeds to organizations or to certain initiatives, and I know one that I appreciate and you may see me often wearing is my hat for Love Your Melon. I do err on the caution of donating to those because I do want to use most of my funds to donate directly to an organization rather than to buying something that then some of that is used to an organization. But I still do believe in companies like Love Your Melon because of what they are doing, and I do enjoy purchasing their merchandise because I can then spread the word further. But of course, you can also purchase merchandise from some of these organizations like we have done with Give Kids the World, where now we can go out wearing those, and when people go, whoa, what's that about? We can talk about it, and it can be kind of an icebreaker and a way of bringing more awareness to that organization. An example of an organization you can just donate directly to, but there are also fun ways that you can make it a gift for somebody, is the World Wildlife Fund. Of course, this is a much larger organization that you most likely have heard about, that is well followed and known. So it's not one that's kind of close to a certain community, but of course it's helping the world. I, for many years, as a tradition for Joe, from our first Valentine's Day, probably up until we were married or shortly after, every Valentine's Day I would adopt an animal. And I think the first time I did the package where you actually got the stuffed animal, but after that I did just the card, or donated more and asked for just the card, because I did feel like we needed the stuffed animal. It was more so just wanted to show him that, you know, there was a certain animal that I thought of for him that I adopted and that funds will go towards. And because it was such an important part of our relationship and something that meant a lot to us, it was actually something that we incorporated into our wedding favors. Instead of giving a trinket or whatever it may be, basically what we did was at every single table we adopted a specific animal, and so on that table we had a frame of the card, and we gave each person a card explaining how we had donated to that animal. And the card is a great thing. It's not only do they give a certificate, but they also give a card that has all the information about the animal, what if they're endangered, how many are in the world, where in the world they are, you know, just specific facts about them. And so that's a really nice gift where you can give something a little tangible as a gift, but also still, again, know a majority of your funds are going to a really important cause. Wow, I think I've given you a lot to think about. So what I would love from you is my only question for you today, and I really hope if any time you answer a question, this is the time I really would love for you to comment. What organizations mean a lot to you, even if it's very specific to where you're from. Of course, if it's too specific and you don't want to give away that detailed of information, if you can give a general idea of an organization that means a lot to you, why it does, and what does that organization do, and why should others consider donating to it. I think, you know, as I said, the list that I've given is just a small amount of the organizations you could consider giving to today on Giving Tuesday or any day. You know, if you're seeing this after Giving Tuesday is just a day that promotes all of us coming together and donating it, but doesn't mean it's the only day we can give each year. It certainly is not. Any time of year, it is needed and should be on our mind. So I highly suggest considering it as a holiday gift to another, as a gift to yourself, as a gift to your community. And I hope that you enjoyed watching this and have gotten some ideas. So again, want to hear from you and what you have to share. And I look forward to giving a little bit on today and days in the near future. So thanks for joining me. All right, I've got some more research to do and some more donating to do myself. So I'll catch you on the other side.